Am I psychic? And if so, where does my psychic ability come from? Well, to answer the first question, yes, everyone's psychic. And let me explain why. You're actually a blended being of conscious and subconscious. So mix that all together as two different parts. You're a physical being, which is the conscious side of you, and you're a spiritual being, which is the subconscious. The problem is that the world that we live in here as humans, we're using mostly the conscious side, the busy part of your mind. It's what we call the beta mind. And we do have the subconscious or the spiritual side to call on whenever we want, but most of us aren't aware of it or aren't aware of how to access it. And that's what we're going to be speaking of in this video, because the physical side, the conscious side, doesn't have psychic ability. The psychic ability all comes from the spiritual side. A few years ago, Raluca and I were hired to go down to Philadelphia to teach a group of Russian psychics about psychic ability. Now, we weren't there to teach them how to be psychic. They already were. They were practicing psychics. But we were there to help them to understand where their psychic ability comes from, the scientific part of it. Where is it? How can you access it? How much can you access at different areas? So the interesting thing about it is when Raluca and I first got there, we walked into the hall where all the psychics were, we were greeted, and I started setting up. And what I was setting up is I had a set of 4 cups that I was setting up, little cups like this here. And what I was doing is I was putting them on a table, and I had 4 side by side, and I had a quarter underneath one of them. So the quarter was right there, and the whole idea was I was going to have the psychics guess or use their abilities to see where the quarter was. So as I was setting up my cups, one of the leaders of the group, so I guess you could call her the head psychic, walked up, picked up one of my cups and said, "It's under here." And she was kind of, I guess you could say, boisterous as she was doing it, showing off for the group. Well, the quarter wasn't there. She was embarrassed. Now, I wanted to save her from that feeling, and this was also a teaching moment. So what I told her to do is I told her to close her eyes, take a deep breath and relax. And what I did was I put the quarter back underneath, moved the cups around. I says, "Now, open your eyes and tell me where the quarter is." She opened her eyes and said, "It's under here," and she was right. Now, what happened? Well, like I said, there's no psychic ability in the conscious side, in the what we call the beta brainwave state, your busy state that you're in right now while you're watching me. And one of the main features of the beta state is ego. Okay, ego is only of the conscious, of the left brain. So she had this strong ego. She wanted to show off to the others, and she came over, and with ego, there is no psychic ability. So all she was doing was guessing. So when she picked that cup up, yeah, it was like a 1 out of 4 chances that she'd be right. So she was wrong. So what I told her to do was I told her to take a deep breath, relax, and close your eyes. Simply by closing your eyes and relaxing, you go into the alpha brainwave state, which is the beginning of relaxation, which is the beginning of psychic ability, which I'll show you in just a few moments. And once she was relaxed, once she can bring herself into the spiritual side, she was able to feel it. It wasn't a matter of guessing, it was a matter of knowing. She lifted up the cup and there it was. So that was a great lesson for them to show them that you can't have ego and psychic ability. You need to let go of the conscious side and access the subconscious before you can use your psychic abilities. What I'd like to do right now is share my screen with a chart that I made for you. Now, this is a basic chart of 4 of the brainwave states. There's many more than 4, but these are the ones that will help you to understand psychic ability. Right now, you are in the beta brainwave state. The beta brainwave state is the conscious mind. It's the state where you use your 5 senses, the senses that you use all the time. That's beta. Now, if you notice here on the chart, see these 3 little characters here? Okay, so let's say This one is you, this one's one of your friends, and this one's me. Okay, so there's 3 separate people. In beta, if you look at this gray shaded area, this would be your consciousness. Your mind is so busy that you're in your own little world. So as you can see, the consciousness of each person does not touch each other. They're separate. I have no idea what you're thinking. You have no idea what I'm thinking. We're going along our busy day. Okay, just doing one thing and another and another. Now, as soon as we cross this line from beta to alpha, that's when you begin to relax. You relax your mind. How do you do that? Simply by taking a deep breath and closing your eyes. You go 80% into the alpha brainwave state. That means you leave 80% of beta. Now, the alpha brainwave state is your state of intuition. This is where you begin to meditate, deep relaxation. This is where you store your memories, by the way, your short-term memories. So if you're taking a test, this is where everything is. Now, there's a lot more you can learn about alpha, but all we need to know right now is that the beginning of psychic ability, what's known as intuition, is here. That's where you know when the phone rings, you have a feeling of who's on the other side when you answer it. You get these gut feelings. Now, if you notice, the consciousness, okay, yours, mind, and your friends are overlapping into alpha. Beta is separate, so your consciousness, your thought process, everything overlaps when you hit alpha. And as it overlaps, you're starting to get feelings of the other person. And this isn't just with these 3 people. This is with everyone. Your consciousness begins to overlap. That's why you're getting feelings from them. Psychic ability. Now, when you cross over from alpha to theta, okay, theta brainwave state is when you relax even more. Now, how deep do you have to be to relax that much? When you're daydreaming in class, okay, you're listening to a college lecture and you're kind of like, you're out of it. Or that stage just before you fall asleep where you're just letting go. That's the theta brainwave state. So from alpha to theta, you're going even deeper. All right, now theta is where you can feel someone else's thoughts. You can feel what they're feeling. You know, you look at your wife and you go, yeah, let's go to that restaurant, because she was thinking of the same thing. That's where your long-term and traumatic memories are stored. That's where you would go to find lost objects. If somebody says, oh, I lost my iPad, can you help me to find it? If you relax enough, you can find it where you last left it, because it brings back your long-term memories. The ones that when you're so busy, when you're down in beta, you've forgotten completely. So a lot of times when people call me and say, I lost this or I lost that, the first thing I tell them to do is close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just relax. And I have them take a few more breaths, and I go, now, where did you last leave it? 9 out of 10 times, I'll tell you exactly where it was. Now, also, theta is where you would do past life regression and a lot of the other spiritual type things. And then you cross over from theta into delta. And delta is kind of your deep sleep state. But you don't have to be asleep. You can access that when you're wide awake. And these are the kind of things we teach in our trainings. And when you're in delta, your mind is crossed over or overlapped so much, as you can see here with others, that it's called the universal consciousness, universal thought. You can call it whatever you want. Valhalla, the happy hunting grounds. This is where you would conduct sessions like life between life sessions, contacting spirits, where you can speak and communicate with other spirits with your spirit guide. This is where you would do mind reading, remote viewing, predictions, because here, not only is it not separate, it's so overlapped. Instead of being you and me, it just is. It's one. It's the present. It's everything. So your thoughts are my thoughts. And this is where most good psychics access to be able to find lost people, find lost objects, do predictions. Now, just to do psychic readings, you don't need to be that deep. You can do those in theta. But when you're in delta, again, that encompasses all of it. That is the true universal consciousness or psychic ability. Now, I can continue to go on talking about the different brainwave states forever, but that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose is to let you know that yes, you are psychic, and this is where your psychic ability comes from. It comes from the subconscious, your spiritual side. And there's different levels depending on how much you allow yourself to relax. Now, you've probably experienced a lot of the different things just accidentally, not even knowing that you're doing it. But once you understand how it works, you can actually go to different levels of your mind on purpose to be able to do different types of psychic ability. So if you'd like to learn more about this, we have a metaphysics and psychic development class coming up. It's a live 4-day class on weekends that you can take right from your computer, right from your home on Zoom. And we're going to be expanding on these things that I just spoke to you about, on where psychic ability is, how it works, how to use the divination tools, and we're going to be practicing virtually every area of psychic ability to help you to develop your psychic talents and to become proficient with the ones that you'd like to be able to use. So click on the link below this video to look at the course. It's coming up real soon, so go ahead and register. And I hope to see you inside the course. It'll be one of the most exciting and fun things that you've done in a while. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.